the recording, and I just made a video of it. I just oops. So we're doing the try it. I don't know what try it is going to be, but it's we're just want to show this heading. We're starting the chapter 12 try it exercise.
Edwin, if you could read it for me, because I cannot open it. I think I may know it, but
oh, I didn't. I just put up try it. I didn't know how you're describing it. I'm just.
Oh, okay.
It was about. I don't know if you're going to build on it. It's talk about a feeling of ambivalence pulled in two directions. Yes. Was the overall topic. Mm-hmm.
So the question is for us to think like a minute or so about a topic that you're ambivalent about, or that you have two feelings about, and then we make a circle, one speaker, one listener, and the listener is entitled to use two questions, no more. That is what Miller advises, and to help the person get through it. And other than that, it's fully reflective listening. So that's the reflective listening exercise. Yeah. So I don't know who was timing. Who was timing?
I'm timing.
Oh, okay, perfect. If you can time a minute for us.
A minute, you got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Started?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Did everybody find something that they may want to talk about? Yeah, okay. Who would want to start speaking, and to whom you want to speak to? Okay, if nobody wants to start, I will start. Okay, let me see. I have not started talking to Edwin. Edwin, would you be willing to be the listener? And you are entitled to use two questions. And for the rest, it is mostly reflective listening. Okay, I have this.
And we have 7 minutes. Was that the?
Oh, yeah.
You gave a little longer.
7 minutes.
Yeah, 7 minutes or until you're done. Yeah.
Oh,
okay, thank you, Bill. Thank you. I feel ambivalent about when one of my participants wants to move to the next session while she has actually missed the last one, which I think was one of the major ones to make the bridge to the next session. And I've had that before, and I never know what would I do good about. You know, I do always a catch up, but a catch up is not that they have a chance to do the exercise. So shall I just pull them through and then hopefully it catches up meanwhile, or shall I say to tell them to wait for the next start? And then with the how do you say that, the fear, there's a fear of losing them, you know, not going to the next phase. So
okay, well, can I reflect?
Yeah.
So you have an ambivalence about some of the students in your class about moving to a different class, and that.
To the next module, the next module.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
About them moving to the next module, and you know, you have some rules, I guess, and then they want to kind of move to the next module, and you have some ambivalence about moving them next without having done the prerequisites. And then but then if you don't move them, you have some fear that they're going to say, well, if you don't move me forward, that that you're going to lose them as a client or as a student.
Sure, they would not say, okay, if you don't do that, then I give up, but it would just happen because the time delays, and then they just forget, or it is no more a good time for them, or something comes in between. And on the other hand, I am also I have to trust enough that I have put a foundation in them, and if they want more, they can find me. If they are ready, I am there. So.
Mm-hmm. So it's there's kind of the ambivalences between having trust for them, that you're there to support them. So, and then on the other is sort of a fear that it'll cause kind of difficulties and problems, sort of more the logistics of it, that it's not so much they're going to leave, but just that they'll forget about the meetings, or something kind of logistically will happen.
Yeah. Do I do a person a disservice to like chase him a little bit, or do I do him a disservice of saying, okay, no problem, whenever you're ready?
Oh, yeah. So you're looking at what's. It's kind of like, do you feel that you're kind of doing a disservice either way? The potential of, are you trying to measure the disservice potential, actually, the low and high?
Yes. Actually, yes, indeed. I haven't thought about that way. It has two disservices feelings, or service feelings. Yeah. It's what is the worst? Or how could I measure it? Maybe individually, you know, what should I look for, or hear from them, or help them with?
So it's you're kind of noticing that there are two different levels of disservice, but you're just thinking of what you could do to contribute the most. It's like, how can you contribute the most to them? Yeah.
And I've done trainings that people say, no, you have to just get them because you do a disservice if you don't. But I myself have not experienced that from the inside, from being a student, that I thought, well, no, I'm not ready for it now. Yeah. So, dilemma.
So a lot. It's like, what do you do in this situation?
Yeah.
And other people are telling you, well, this is a disservice, but you yourself have not experienced it as a disservice as a student yourself. Is that what you mean?
Right. I would have felt being pushed if or giving in, or feeling myself being a wimp. How you say that? Wimpy. You let do with yourself. So if I would have said okay, or continue that training, and while I thought I needed to think it over more, or so that's what brought me back to myself. And then I thought, okay, how am I going to do that with people that I would want to have in my training?
Oh, okay. So you kind of bring it back to your own experience, and then kind of operate from your own experience. Like, what works for you, you maybe do it for them that way. What would work for you the best? Have you had experience with this with someone? Is it, you know, I was just kind of wondering what happened when you kind of did this with someone.
Not as a trainer, but as a trainee. I felt it from the inside, but not from being the leader yet. I have not heard from anybody who said, oh, I'm so glad you got me over the threshold to still do it, you know. So I don't have that experience.
Okay, so you've experienced it yourself kind of from the inside as a trainee, but you haven't, as a leader, you haven't actually seen how this has played out yet.
Right.
Right. So it's kind of like a sense of the unknown, a bit of an unknown there.
Well, that, but also it comes back to what is leadership and what is, when do you power over, you know? So it is also my own little hot topic. Oh, thank you. Yeah, 7 minutes.
Okay. All right. Oh, good. Okay. And it's my turn for my ambivalence story.
Mm-hmm.
So I will pick Peter. Yes, if you're up for that.
All right, I'm here.
Okay, so my ambivalence is a fear story. It's about fear. The ambivalence, I think ambivalence means sort of a conflict. And now I have a sensation of wanting to move towards the fears. Like there's a drive, an energy to move towards fear and explore it and kind of move through it. But there's another feeling that I've used the word, it's like a rubber band, you know, where there's a rubber band, you just kind of stretch it, but it wants to pull you back to, you know, back. And so I feel like I want to move forward, but then there's this feeling that kind of wants to pull me back, like, don't go there, don't do that. That's not fun. It's painful. There's a lot of pain there in going into fears and anxieties.
So you're noticing this kind of inspiration, this step out of your comfort zone and to really move towards fear. Like, what does fear mean? What does it mean to you? And at the same time, you're noticing this. It's almost physical, that you're noticing that you're stretching yourself thin. At the same time, it wants to snap back and bring you back to that comfort zone that is so tempting to stay in. That, like, when you imagine going back to it, it's almost like it's going to bring you right back to step one right away.
Yeah. If I just let go, it'll take me back there. And what I think that now, as I'm thinking into this, that the feeling is wanting to open myself up. Like I'm feeling as, you know, the fear is a quality of constriction of my body. Like my head, you know, I'm very kind of mental, you know, I kind of constrict and sort of control the essence of the spontaneity. And then it's like facing the fears means to kind of be more open, you know, and it's like, and it's maybe like an amoeba. I don't know if you've seen an amoeba. They have the little tentacles out there, but you poke them and they they constrict. So I think that's maybe what it is.
Your experience is that you're mental and that you're kind of closed in almost, like, and you're relating it to an amoeba, which is, you know, they're sticking things all over the place. And
the little tentacles are out there, you know, kind of feeding in the environment, kind of open.
Yeah. And you have this experience almost of, I don't know if it's concern or there's this sense that it's almost like you're expecting this situation to happen that's going to make you all close up and not want to talk about fear anymore.
It's like underneath is like this pain, this anxiety, that when I open up to go face the fear, it kind of opens up. It kind of comes into my awareness. And it's like, it's very unpleasant. It feels painful. It feels like, you know, I get a little short of breath with it. It's like, it's just a painful feeling there when I start opening it up. It's like I have to reveal this pain, I guess, and vulnerability, I think.
So much so that you're having it almost as an experience of an extension of your body. that you're kind of expanding and leaving yourself vulnerable. And it's, and that's a risk, it sounds like.
Yeah.
There's a risk there that you're putting out there for the sake of your own growth.
Yeah.
So, and you're just kind of concerned, like, oh my, I'm putting this part of myself out there, and it's going to hurt if it comes back in.
Well, it's more that it's not that it's going to come back in. It's I'm going to open up, and then I'm going to reveal something, and it's going to be like a knife, a stabbing. Someone's going to like stab. I'm going to be stabbed. And so
even in this experience of your body, you're realizing what a risk you're putting yourself in. Like, for the sake of your goals and your dreams, you're stretching out in this way. But at the same time, you're noticing, wow, I'm getting out there. Like, I'm really, and you're approaching it. You're approaching that situation where something could happen.
Yeah, but that's where the ambivalence is. The ambivalence is it's almost like it's like I'm pushing against this rubber band, stretching this rubber band that wants to pull back, and I can feel the pulling back. On one hand, there's some force, I guess, this force of sort of openness and the pleasure of like non-stressful, intimate, sensitivity, enjoyment, kind of relaxation. And there's something's drawing me open, and then there's the other thing is drawing me closed. So it's like kind of this back and forth. So I think that's what just to throw myself into that openness is just not that easy.
Yeah, so you're noticing that tension that's existing as an extension of your body and how it's pulling you, and you're inviting yourself to feel that wonderful socialization, almost that wonderful sense of growth. And at the same time, you're still honoring the fact that there is that thing that wants to pull back in.
Yeah.
You're trying to kind of sit with those two forces at the same time, just to have them both there. And you're kind of still feeling that out in your own body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the openness, the opening up is something about being spontaneous, like being authentic to the feelings that arise in the moment, and to be able to speak to those in just feel grounded in it, and not knowing if I speak to that, what the heck is going to happen. It's sort of like the improv. Maybe I should be doing improv acting or something to get more comfortable with that spontaneity of self.
It sounds like you're really celebrating that sense of stretching out into what you're becoming, and you're getting kind of curious about, how do I stretch out in a safe, comfortable way?
That's it. Yeah.
How do I keep this going while it's still, it's still serving me?
Yeah. And how do I do it in a way that's not as painful? Oh, there it is. Yeah. So I feel heard. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. That's helpful.
I even in what I'm going to choose to talk about, I feel a little bit. It's interesting, that it to me it feel so. Wait, I got to pick someone.
Mm-hmm.
Celia, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. To me, in a way, this feels very surface level, but it doesn't. In particular, because my living arrangement's going to change, eventually in a few months. And I'm going to, move from one part of the house to the other. And I feel very ambivalent around how I'm going to arrange my living space. Like, in my head, I've drawn it out. I'm the type of person that I'll draw out a little thing and I'll say, okay, what will fit here? What will fit there? And there are just these multiple different ways I can configure my living space that, to me, kind of narrates where I'm going in life almost. Like, wow. It's, so I'm just ambivalent about, do I put my computer in the big room? Do I put my computer in the little room? Do I put my bed in the big room? Do I put my bed in the little room? That kind of thing. And reflect it back, because even I'm.
So yeah, so
at the same time, it's not.
Right, the ambivalence of you right now in the question what to do when you're going to move and where you're going to put everything really reflects actually your real life, and you realize that you think, okay, but I'm still there, and I still don't know what to do, and I still don't know where to put what, and but it like reflects also what you have going on in other parts of your life.
Yeah, that's accurate. Even, soon I'm going to start in August, actually, I'm going to start a 2-year program, which I've committed myself to. I've already paid for it, and I'm really happy with that. It's a really great program. I'm really excited for it, but I don't know where it's leading me. I don't know what's happening, even that, I have daydreams of the days that my student loans will be paid off. And like, oh man, will I go back to school? Will I not put so much into retirement and buy a house? Will I do this? Will I do that? And I'm just realizing how many directions I'm pulled. And I was even talking about it with coworkers today, based on how, by the type of day I'm having, I have these different dreams, for what's going to happen, in the future. And it's just like, it's cute. It's cute when I realize how many of them I have.
Wow. So all these options that you feel coming soon towards you and already are coming to you in situations, and you're very excited and looking forward to it, especially when August will hit, then you can even get dreams of how better your life will look like, and how even, money wise, you will be in such a better place that you can even pay off your student loans. And but still, that does not tell you what to do, where to do, what's going on exactly.
It's a little bit torturous, I'm realizing.
Right.
This ambivalence.
Yeah.
There's torture because, to be honest, I have so many options. Like, really, like, I have all these different options, and they all feel alive in me. It reminds me of a long time ago. I was having like a conversation with someone online on a web forum, and he was laughing at me. He was telling everyone, "Oh, Peter's so full of it," because he's telling everyone he's confused between going to grad school for one thing and going to grad school for another thing. And I wanted to tell the guy, like, no, I really like both things. I could really do both things. So I'm trying to, and they were polar opposites, and basically, and that experience, I'm having it again. Like, I can go so many different ways in my life. So just realize, like, I don't know. I really don't know how to, like, what my choice is. And it feels kind of scary to be in that space where I don't know where I want to go at that point. And then I don't know, am I going to be married and have kids and have a family? And then that decision's made already, It's like it's being in that soup is really stressful.
Like, you have no clue what life has in store for you. Even there's so many options, and you like multiple options. It's not that you would know which one to choose, and even if other people make fun of you, like, yeah, Peter, this and that, it's real true. It's really true. You both like things. You like do this, do that, but that does not mean that you know what to do. It's still painful, even.
Yeah, it's painful, and realizing that already with the schooling and the career I have, I've already like reached the goal. Like I've reached what most people set as their goalpost, and I just have a different one. I have a goalpost beyond it, and it's kind of difficult at times when people don't understand. Like, oh wait, you still have a goal? I have a job with a place that everyone shoots for in my field to get a job there. And I have a terminal degree in my field.
Like, how can you still be in the dilemma?
I just don't know what it is.
Yeah. How can a person like you still have a dilemma? I mean, you have everything that you shot for, everything that you were aiming for, and you have it. And what's the problem with you that you still want to go further, or that they don't get it? But maybe you yourself neither. Is that it?
That's why
that you yourself have the question to yourself too.
Yeah, and maybe that's why I chose this 2-year program, because it's, really a lot of hypnotherapy and a lot of supportive, diving into a whole different community that I'm used to. Maybe I'm trying to look for that answer there.
Right. Right. So maybe it is in a different place, and maybe that is why you now are in this different community and hope to help you yourself to the answer to this question. Yeah.
Okay, I feel heard. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think Bill has not had your turn yet, right, Bill?
Correct.
So shall I just listen to you, or no? You want Bill? Okay. Well, because I talked already. Let me see how much time do we have, Edwin?
Oh, everybody's talked except for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we have 20 minutes. So maybe if Bill selects someone.
Bill,
Sure.
yeah, you pick who you want.
All right,
to
I'll talk to Celia, and I
Okay.
got the 7-minute timer on.
All right. Okay.
Ambivalent. So I'm feeling somewhat ambivalent about, going to these demonstrations where there's going to be conflict. And, I've learned a lot. What I know from my, from my job and my experience is that people listen when they feel safe and calm. And so essentially what we're trying to do is to kind of pull from people a skill at a time when they're going to be at that lowest ebb. So I'll let you reflect that.
Yeah, so you are a little ambivalent about all the things that are going on with these rallies, and that you're going to be there, and that people actually only listen or can hear things when they are in a calmer state, and this won't pull that off. Like this is a different ball game where you're going to be in, and yeah, you wonder maybe what you should do there, or if you should be there. Is that what you were thinking about?
Well, partially, I have those. So this is sort of like talking about fears. I have those fears. Yeah. I also have seen. I participated at the rally. This was not a contentious rally, but I really enjoyed being at the rally with the protesters against the family separations at the border. And then the other thing is, I have to say that my mind has been changed, because I have to say that I have a great deal of respect for Edwin's chutzpah, and and the fact that I do see that putting ourselves out there as an alternative to listening to what is going on is a stark contrast, and possibly could have a societal effect.
Right. So you do feel the ambivalent, but on the other hand, you see also what a beneficial something it can be if you contribute like Edwin does, and it has really an impact and can really be of influence for later.
Yeah. And I think I want to clarify chutzpah in the sense that I
don't know what chutzpah is.
Chutzpah is a Yiddish term for means kind of pushing your agenda. It's like wherever it is, you're going to push that agenda. And that's what it means.
Okay.
But I don't want to, and I kind of sort of a joke, but I really want, I really respect it. That's not just what Edwin's doing. Edwin is evaluating the crowd. He's listening. It's a high degree of skill. I'll let you reflect that.
Yes. Yeah, so that you want to make sure that you do not ridicule or diminish what Edwin is doing, because it's really an amazing skill that he portrays. But on the other hand, you still feel doubtful, or reluctant or holding back or something that does not
Right.
let you give yourself over to it.
Well, my withhold, not a withhold, but my concern is that if this rally, I mean, if you come to a rally and you want to be listened to or you want to be heard, that's one thing. But if the agenda, as I think is happening with society, and also a lot on the right and maybe on the left, I don't know, but certainly where they're coming to plan for conflict, then there quickly becomes sort of diminishing returns.
Right. So actually, if people really, if their aim is really the conflict and going in a fight or whatever, what sense does it make to really put your tent there and to offer that? Because they didn't come for that. They did not come for being heard or whatever. They just have a strong agenda to fight, and and that is something that you feel in the background. That is kind of different also than other tent events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel good about going and participating. I feel good about the fellowship that has developed between the people who are going, and so I'm willing. I feel that. All right, I'm going to put myself, out there.
Right.
I feel good, and I'm at peace with that. But I think, but I always, in my work, and always, your greatest strength is always your greatest weakness. Because when you rely on your strength too much, you don't explore different avenues. And so I think that, I'm just kind of struggling with that. Right,
because that from what is your strength is also your weakness, and if you think everything will be going the way I think it should, because I know my skills, I know what to do, I feel good with the people that I'm with, it may surprise you, and you may not get out there what you would like, or you feel something in the background that is bigger than you, bigger than what you wanted to contribute.
Right, and then in reflection of all of this, I kind of feel and see how reflective listening is an inoculation against making that mistake.
Right, so maybe active listening or reflective listening to yourself would be a help.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, was everybody aware of the one or two questions that they asked the other person? Bill, you did not get a chance, I think.
No, but I didn't hear any questions, really.
Oh, perfect. Then they are really
thinking. I thought we should.
There. Yeah. I know which ones I asked, and Edwin, I heard yours asking to me.
You seem to actually like it when I asked the question.
Yeah, actually, because when I read it from Bill, and I thought, no, I never even do a question, But so now I consciously try to put them in there, and I did one to Peter too, and I didn't know if it was too much or not. Peter, did you realize when I asked you a question?
I was put me so in the zone, I didn't even feel it. It's like when the doctor
perfect,
and you don't even feel it, so it's good.
Okay, perfect. So even going up with the tone to the question mark, that is for me normally I don't do that even, but I did it on purpose. So do you think that this or this is that? Then so that was a question for me, or or do you feel that this is and you, Edwin, you heard it?
I heard my questions, asking questions. I don't remember
exactly
hearing a question for me. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, yeah. I did make a point of kind of asking a question. And I kind of just noticed that when I asked you a question that you seemed to appreciate it. So.
Yeah. I also felt that the question was in a correct moment and really felt naturally. And I think Peter and Bill have that experience as well. So that is another skill that we could practice to, if you want to move a person with a question, then it should really be in a way that they feel it is a natural consequence of the last sentence. You know, it's not a breaking.
Yeah, somehow it has to really fit in with what's being said. I think it's the same with advice. Like, it's like the advice is if you've really heard deeply into someone and you're really saying something that does move them forward, then it feels pretty good. It's just that a lot of the advice is it hasn't gone deep enough yet. You know, it's not, and the same thing with questions. If you can maybe even just, I guess I could even have made those questions as reflections. They might have had the similar effect too.
Sure. Yeah.
I did have
like
one.
I realized to Bill that I said, so it is something that it's even ambivalent in, would you do good to go there? You know, so that was more of a question like then, instead of really listening to what he had said. Yeah. But who knows?
Yeah, I wonder what everyone else's feedback is on this exercise.
I think I like the idea of ambivalence.
Yeah.
Because it starts. It's sort of almost like an easy on-ramp to fear. Because we talk about ambivalence, that we feel two ways, and so we don't have like a solid, rock solid way to present ourselves. And so I really like that. And then, far than that, I enjoyed everything that I heard.
Peter, anything?
It's just a more extended. The topic was good. It was just a kind of an extended empathy interaction to me, to be honest. Yeah. It was, I'm so used to throwing in, statements and questions that, just flows.
Yeah.
So I liked it. Nice. It worked.
Nice. Yeah. I missed for myself. I thought, well, a little more deeper listening maybe could have brought for myself some more tips for myself. How could I think next time? What could I hint myself to? So, but I think that would take more listening and deeper listening. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I liked the 7 minutes also. That was a great time. Yeah.
Yeah. The this kind of related to what we were talking about earlier about conflicting feelings, because ambivalence is sort of about feelings that are in conflict. And how do you work through those conflicts? One way to work through the conflict is to kind of talk it out, kind of explore, see if some kind of new insight happens that's a resolution. So yeah, it's I thought it was, I liked that. I think the whole conflict area kind of comes into some dynamic drama. So I thought it was really, I enjoyed it. So, okay, was there more, Celia, for the exercise, or?
No, that was the exercise.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the exercise.
I just had, one thing that just came to mind is, if we kind of in closing for a feeling, like what were the two feelings that what were the two aspects of the conflict that you had, and how do they feel differently? You know, what's the difference in feeling? So, and then we could try mirroring those, right? And then later on, you know, the next step would be to kind of integrate them somehow. So if we could go around and try that. So I had kind of the opening, kind of like, you know, the opening is like, yeah, opening, kind of stretching, open. And then the other was kind of like closing. It's like feeling two is like this closing. Yeah. Yeah, so those are the two feelings that I had.
Mine will come later.
Yours is going to come a little delayed.
Sorry about that.
I guess for me, you know, just as in, I'm pulled in so many directions. So it's kind of like, oh, I'm getting pulled. Like, oh, I'm like on a torture rack, you know, I'm even getting my legs pulled. Like, oh. And that's kind of all of them.
But what are the two ways, what are some of the ways you're being pulled at? Because that's the general pulling, but what's
okay,
wait. Contrast.
So maybe one is getting pulled like this, like all the, like, you know, and one's getting pulled like that.
Okay.
Like, you know, I'm trying to express it as it's only half true for me. I can't quite think of it right now. Thank you.
Okay. I guess Bill, you want?
Okay. My feeling was just sort of like not pulled in, but sort of like entwined, and you know.
Oh, okay.
But that was my feeling.
So that's not the two different ones, kind of the contrast. Was there the two are together? Or
It's two different two different mindsets coexisting in the same space. In fluctuating situation. At one point, this mindset might be the right one, or this mindset might be So that's the conflict.
Okay. Okay. I don't know, Celia, where we're at with you can.
For me, it was a movement like grabbing the person, grabbing and taking him. Or the other feeling is like opening on a plate, you know, giving a plate, open a plate. Yeah. So those two different. So grabbing or giving a plate. Yeah.
So grabbing, kind of like grabbing, or the
plate.
Oh, you got it real. You got the real. Yeah. Oh, that looks good. Eventually, I want to get a shot of that. Like, can we get everyone doing a grabbing? That looks. Oh, that is cool. Isn't that a cool image? And then kind of.
Plate. Come on, Celia. Come on.
You catch up. We're waiting for you, Celia. We're going to wait for you until you can
do it. You can do it.
You can do it.
Come on, Internet.
Come on, let's go.
Let them choose.
Let's go to the play. I think it's
bandwidth. Oh,
Zoom doesn't do it.
Maybe an aspirin will help.
That's what I wanted to do. Grabbing. Okay. Gosh, I'm like a little rabbit hanging there. There it is.
A little higher.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay, you got that's fun.
Okay. So now,
All right.
okay.
All right. Well, that was fun. I enjoyed it. So we had our intention was to foster a culture of empathy. I want to take that intention out with Celia's still got her hand out there. So we want to blow our intention out with us. Take a deep breath. Oh, it went out. I better put it out real quick because it smokes and then I'm Joan all upset. So okay, we blew that out.
All right.
Okay, well, let's stop the recording.